Hi, boys and girls, it's Mr. Yates. In this video, we're going to be doing the last lesson for Chapter 11, 11.13, and we're going to be converting metric units of capacity. And I have a little chart up here that explains what units of capacity is right up here. Uh, there are really only two metric units of capacity that we have to worry about or deal with. The first one is the milliliter. Milliliter is a very small amount of liquid. Capacity means the amount of liquid that can fill up any object like a water bottle or here an eyedropper. It's just the amount of liquid. And for a milliliter, it's a very small amount. It's an eyedropper. It's the amount of liquid. If you take an eyedropper and squeeze it up, the amount in there is going to be about 1 milliliter. A liter is about the size of a medium sports drink. It's actually smaller than it is in real life here compared to an eyedropper. It would take about 1,000 eyedropperfuls of liquid to fill up 1 liter of a medium sized sports drink. And those are really the only two units of measurement that we deal with when we talk about metric units of capacity. It's just milliliter and liter. We don't use any other ones. So converting between the two is just really a very simple step. And I'll show you that simple step using our King Henry chart. And we'll use that simple chart all the way through. It's not going to be really very complicated at all. So what I'll do is I'll take and I'll just put my King Henry chart up. King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. The U is the unit of measurement that we're talking about, and in this case, it's the liter, which is, remember, is the amount that is in the medium-sized sports drink. It's a water bottle. It's a medium-sized water bottle. The milliliter is down here, and that's the amount in an eyedropper. And those are the only two measurements we worry about. We either go from liters down to milliliters, or we go up from milliliters to liters, left to right, but the same number of decimal places we jump. We're going to be going from 1, 2, 3. So no matter which direction we're going to be jumping 3 spots. So 1, 2, 3 from liters to milliliters, or 1, 2, 3 from milliliters back up to liters. And that's it. So basically the key issue is, remember, 3 decimal places. 3 decimal places. That's all you have to remember, left or right. So I think I might simplify my chart down a little bit here. I'll just put U for unexpectedly and M for milliliters, or I might just use the actual abbreviations. We use capital L for liters because it confuses people if we just use a lowercase l, looks like a 1. And for milliliters, we actually use a lowercase m, and then we use it again, that capital L for milliliters. So we either go left or right, down, which is 3 spaces, or we go left, which is back from milliliters to liters. Once we got that down, we're ready to do these. We can do these very simply with just using this idea. I'll remind myself here, we're doing 3 decimal places, up or down. And let's try a couple. All right, so our first one I want to look at is number 5. Number 5, we're going to be converting 70L, which stands for liters. We're going to convert it to milliliters, which is ml. Since I'm going from the larger liters down to milliliters, I'm going to be moving 3 decimal spaces, and I'm going to be going from large down to small, so I'm going to be moving to the right. I'll take my 70 liters. It looks like I'm going to have to go add a few more zeros to make sure that I'm ready. I'll put my decimal dot here, and I'll just move on down. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's a much bigger number now. My 70 liters has now become 70 milliliters. Another shortcut, boys and girls, is you could also multiply the 70 times 1,000 to get the same thing. Let's take a look at another one. Let's take a look at number 7. in this case, we're going to take 1 2/10 liters and we're going to convert it to milliliters again, making sure that I use a lowercase m, not an uppercase, and an uppercase L for milliliters. Now, in this one, there's already a decimal in there. I'm going again from a larger unit of measurement, liters, to a smaller unit of measurement, which is milliliters. So I'll be going to the right. And I know that anytime I'm converting between these two, I'm either going to multiply by 1,000, or not multiply by 1,000. I'm going to move the decimal place 3 decimal places. In this situation, what I'll do is I'll take 1 2/10 liters, and I'm going to, looks like I'll probably need to annex some zeros here, boys and girls. So I'll do that right now. I'll take out put the decimal back in me, leave that decimal, add a few zeros, and now I'll move the decimal over to the right 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. Once I do that, I end up with 1,200 milliliters. Now, when I'm moving from liters to milliliters, I can also multiply by 1,000 to get the same number too. I can't do that the other direction though, and I'll show you what I mean over here in number 10. Now, in number 10, I have 230 milliliters, and I'm going to convert them now to liters. This time, I'm going from the smaller unit of measurement, which is milliliters. And if I look on my chart, I'm going from smaller, which is milliliters, up to the bigger unit of measurement, which is liters. That means I'm still going to move 3 decimal places, but this time I'm going to the left. And that's what I'll do down here. I'll take my 230 milliliters. I'm going to put a decimal place at the end of it so I can move it. I'm going to remind myself I'm moving to the left, and I'm moving 3 spaces. Looks like I'm going to need to annex a few zeros here. And then I'll move my decimal. 1, 2, 3. Now, when I move the 3 decimal spaces, I am now going to rewrite it. I don't need this first zero, but I do need that second zero because it's right next to the decimal point. So I'll put 0 and 23 hundredths. I don't need that last zero either because it's not necessary, but I do want to make sure I have one before the decimal point, just to remind me that it is a decimal there and not just the number 23. So 23 milliliters is going to equal 23 hundredths liters. And boys and girls, that should give you pretty much everything you need to be able to convert metric units of capacity. Like I said, it's very easy to remember as long as you remember that you're going just either from liters to milliliters, left or right, but always 3 decimal places. If you have any questions, just email myself or Miss Garcia. We'd be more than happy to help you out on this one. And go ahead and get started now on lesson 11.13 or 11.13. Thanks, boys and girls. Bye-bye.